Hello, everyone. This is Seth Bloom.
David Grimion here.
We're here with Bloom Legal and wanted to talk today about one of the other hot legal topics and tell you a little bit about what we do here at Bloom Legal. We have a robust criminal defense practice, and then we also do personal injury work. But today, we're going to talk about one area of criminal defense. I know we've talked about DWIs and traffic tickets and misdemeanors and felonies.
Yep.
But today's topic is going to be drug possession, and maybe David will talk a little bit about the differences of drug possession and what that entails.
Sure.
Dave, what's the difference? Can I get caught with a pound of heroin? Is that the same as a dime bag of marijuana?
It's a little different. Louisiana, there's classifications of different types of drugs. Pretty much every possession of any drug without a prescription other than marijuana is going to be a felony for the most part. Simple marijuana possession can potentially be a felony if you've been convicted of it numerous times.
Right. I think the law is, I know the law is, and marijuana is what's called an enhanceable offense, like a DWI. So first a misdemeanor, a second's a misdemeanor, and a third is a felony.
Yeah.
And, they just saw the other day the New Orleans City Council basically said that they would only write summons for marijuana.
No more arrests.
No more arrests.
Simple possession.
I think they did that about a year ago or so, but I guess that didn't take. Police officers were still grabbing people. But that is up to a certain quantity, so that doesn't mean you can get pulled over with a distribution amount.
You can't have 10 pounds and not go to jail. You still are probably going to get in trouble for that, and that'll likely be a felony and not just a simple possession misdemeanor. But, especially with the rise of heroin and methamphetamines and fentanyl now and pills and things like that, prescription pills, one thing to really watch out for that we see fairly often here is someone who may have left a pill bottle behind in another person's car with their name on it, and that person gets pulled over when they're driving, and they've got these drugs in their car from another person. You can be arrested for
I don't
possession.
think people really understand that, and this goes both ways, and I'm going to go to possession and distribution. So if one person, and we get this case all the time, if one person, 16-year-old, 20-year-old, 25-year-old, or 100-year-old, doesn't really matter, but we see this a lot in younger people. Let's say, for instance, an ADD drug like Adderall.
Yeah.
If you give your friend one Adderall, that's a distribution. That's a felony charge. Now, if let's say you get pulled over and they see one little Adderall pill in your cup holder, that's possession of an illegal controlled substance and is a felony. People don't realize that. So you've got to know what's in your car. You've got to know what's in your possession. And sometimes people aren't clear with that.
Sure.
You know what it is, though.
Yeah.
Like, a controlled substance, an opiate, it's a sedative. It makes it pretty clear on there what it is.
Stimulant, something of that.
Stimulant, like an ADD medication, like Adderall. So people really need to know, be careful. If someone brings a bottle of pills in your car, you need to be like, if that's their medication, that's fine. But there's no real reason to drive around with a pill, a whole bottle of Vicodin in your car. I mean,
our college students, younger kids, we see it too. They're borrowing a friend's car who may leave their prescription in there, and they end up getting pulled over and arrested.
And even if you take the medication, for instance, let's say you take your prescribed 1 milligram of Adderall a day, and you get caught with a 2 milligram pill, that's not your prescription from your doctor. So you obtained
if you can't validate that prescription or that pill that you have with a valid prescription from a doctor, you're going to still be in trouble. And so that's something that you definitely need to watch out for. Another thing is, if anybody out there is potentially on probation or parole for something else, and you are in a car riding around with someone else, and they have something in the car, you can potentially get in trouble for that as well. So you need to watch out for that. And I guess
the reason we keep focusing on cars is because, the police don't usually bust down the door of your apartment or your house and search your medicine cabinet without a warrant. And there has to be some sort of probable cause for that warrant. But the probable cause to pull you over could be speeding, a taillight out, an equipment violation. Yeah. And then it's if they suspect anything, basically
they smell marijuana, search the car.
They're getting the car. So we see that case a lot. Car smells like marijuana. They search it.
Another common one is you didn't pay a traffic ticket, or you have a warrant out for your arrest for not going to court on a traffic ticket. That gives them probable cause to look through the car potentially. There's all kinds of ways that.
Or here's another one without a car. You're down in the French Quarter. You're with your friends. There's some trouble. There's a scuffle. You get arrested, and then they find any kind of drug in your car. I know we focused a lot on prescription medications, but usually in those arrests down in the French Quarter out partying, they find marijuana on people. They
got
find
a pill in your pocket,
cocaine, ecstasy. None of that is legal. And the penalties for some of the opiates now, because it's reactionary with all the problems going across the country with opiate addiction, are quite severe.
Sure.
And again, you really have to be careful with the opiates about distribution of them. And obviously, you shouldn't take anything. You shouldn't be in possession of any drugs unless it's prescribed to you. As far as marijuana goes, we're not in Colorado.
Nope.
This isn't California yet. And although the city of New Orleans is taking proactive measures to kind of decriminalize it to some extent, it's still a misdemeanor on the books.
Yep.
And
people don't realize that too. They think, I'll just go pay this weed ticket, no big deal, a couple $100. Well, then that's admitting your guilt. You're
right.
pleading guilty.
And let me tell you this: just in Orleans Parish, for instance, they were treating them as non-enhanceable as well. Mm-hmm. But this is what happens: there's other parishes around the state that don't really care about any of this.
So you're driving to go to the mall in Metairie.
So let's say you're going to the mall in Metairie. Let's say you're going to, I don't know. Let's say you're going to the North Shore.
Oh, yeah.
You're going to St. Tammany Parish, and you've paid 2 marijuana summons in the last, cleansing period's 10 years.
Yeah.
So you paid 2 marijuana summons that were no big deal. They were $200 over the last couple years. If they find marijuana in your car, they will arrest you. And they will charge you based on the predicate being those two priors.
And that means it's your third. That's a felony.
And that's a felony. And we see that kind of thing a lot too. So, unless you plan on never leaving Orleans Parish, you got to be careful with that. And, you really need to hire a lawyer. You can hire us, criminal defense lawyer. We can try to represent you on these things. Sometimes there's diversion programs. Sometimes there's other ways to prevent convictions. And that's really what we want to do, is prevent convictions. I know we're talking about marijuana too, but over the years we've represented people with just
hundreds of ecstasy pills, shrooms,
cocaine,
all that stuff.
Methamphetamines were real big about a decade ago when I was first starting to practice. So all of these things, bad.
Yep.
Drugs are bad.
Yep, absolutely.
And even if you don't think drugs are bad, the laws on the books make drugs real bad.
They do.
So that's the problem.
And when you're doing, especially we're talking about a car a lot. You're doing something illegal in a car, driving too fast, and you have something illegal in the car, that's a recipe for disaster.
Right, like you may be, at some camp doing peyote and trying to do some sort of cleansing ritual. But and you may be a strong believer in that, but peyote is on the list. It's very illegal. They will very much arrest you. They will very much put you in jail, and you'll be facing a pending felony.
Yep.
So our advice is, if you get busted with drugs, give us a call, 504-599-9997. But more importantly, you really need to understand your rights. You need to understand that drug possessions of any kind, I don't know, caffeine, coffee, they haven't made that illegal yet,
have
they?
Yet. But look, they do need probable cause to find these things, to search for this type of these drugs. So they need a reason or a warrant to be searching. And, there's ways that we can look into the police reports, warrants. There could be deficiencies in those things that we can provide a robust defense, on your behalf. And a lot of times people tend to start talking a lot when they may be arrested, things like that. It's usually best not to answer any questions unless you have an attorney present. So give us a call. We're available 24/7 over here at Bloom Legal.
All right, Dave, that's a wrap. Drug possessions. Give us a call, bloomlegal.com. Y'all have a great day.